Back with India Market Open right here on NDTV Profit. Now let's focus on a company which has won a large export contract. And you don't normally hear rail companies do that. So Texmaco is the one in focus. Before we get the management in, first let's get in Puneet to understand the recent order win, the order book and the road ahead. Puneet.
Well, thanks so much for that. So there'll be three things I'll be watching out from this conversation. The first, of course, the key topic which we're speaking to the management, 560 open top wagons is what they're going to supply, an order of about 280 odd crores. The key aspect is that this is expandable for an additional 1,040 wagons over the next 5 years. So that'll be one key aspect. The other ones, of course, on the order book, 7,000 crore order book is what the company has with an annual capacity of about 15,000 wagons. How does that essentially shape up compared to the growth of the whole industry and for India specifically? That will be the key aspect, because the share of railways in the national logistics is expected to go up from 27% to 45%. How much will the company be able to capture? That's the second thing. And finally, in terms of near-term guidance, what is the key expectations from FY26 growth? That will be the three things I'll be watching out from this conversation.
Thanks, Puneet. Very important that it's an export order. I think that's the big deal here. And Mr. Sudipto Mukherjee, he's Managing Director of Texmaco Rail and Engineering, Johnson right now on the show to talk about this and more. Mr. Mukherjee, thank you so much for taking the time out and congratulations on this order win. Now, tell us the significance of this order in light of the fact that one, you would presumably have been competing with the global players. Maybe there were Indian players in the fray too, part one. And part two, how large is this in lieu of your current export book?
Okay, so in terms of the competition, of course, we did not have any Indian player there. So it was more with the Chinese and there are some European contenders. So in terms of the export book, this is a significant and one of the largest ever won by any Indian rolling stock company, Indian company, for a foreign and overseas requirement of rolling stock. So we from Texmaco look at it that this is a major milestone in our achievement, because Texmaco was in two export markets since long, but it was on a moderate level or moderate scale. Now, once we have focused to improve our reach to newer regions and newer customers with newer product portfolio, this is one of the significant order which we have. Today we have a kitty of around 750 crore of order book. So you can understand that this constitutes around more than 70%. And this is a beginning and this is not the end, and many things are to come. And in terms of the overall share, so we had been typically in the range of 7 to 8% of the total turnover was an export portfolio. But in next 2 to 3 years time, we want to take it to gradually a 30%.
30%. Okay. So tell us, okay, we'll talk about that too. But Mr. Mukherjee, first tell us a bit about this order. So I believe there is an operation and maintenance angle attached to it. And somewhere in the release, I believe I read that there is an optionality of some sort of supplying more wagons as well in the future. Did I get that right?
You are absolutely correct. And it is phased out in 3 phases.
Okay.
So overall, it is 1,600 wagons. And within next 2 years, we have to supply around 560. And balance are, of course, you know that sub-Saharan Africa continent is rich in mineral and natural gas and whatever, and the global focus is there. And with the private investment coming in to more and more make it effective. So rolling stock is one of the area and railway is one of the area is in focus. And which were, of course, not dominated or not enough presented by us, although Texmaco had previous experience to supply to these continents in a sporadic manner. But this is a kind of a long-term footprint we are setting up with this opportunity. It is, the country's overall requirements, so overall rolling stock availability were in thousands. and they are
Mr.
putting up.
Mr. Mukherjee, just to set the context of why this is significant, I think tell us about the company that has placed the order, which country is it in, and why is it a breakthrough of sorts? Like you mentioned, this is a very significant order. Why is that?
So significant order. Why is that? Is that I mean, India is being now looked by the global companies as a possible partner. That engineering wise and solution wise, who can also go to the world, and they can partner to them as a possible supplier beyond China or many other countries. So this is a very proud moment for us being an Indian company. Then when a company of Australian origin and of course with collaboration with the National Railway of Cameroon, so they have entrusted an Indian company for such a large, very important project for their country on a long-term manner. So in that way, it's very significant on a global context that for an Indian company, this is perhaps the largest ever on a foreign land to win for such a long-term contract. And it's just putting a faith to the engineering solution of the produce of India to the global market. In that way, it is so significant. And for a company like us, of course, it's a large order when we have taken up a strategy that we want to increase our reach and increase our percentile share of the product, and we want to be a Indian company with a global footprint, an Indian multinational, where we want to have the excellence and compete with all the global players. So in that way, I think this is very significant for us.
Fair enough, absolutely, and I'm glad you've set that context. Just want to understand that does it open the doors to more nations partnering and looking at Texmaco as a vendor?
Yeah, so I would like to say that we work as a solution provider, not only merely a vendor, because this particular contract, if you have also seen, it also include a part of association of maintaining the rolling stocks on behalf of them for 20 years. And yes, it opens up a huge opportunity. We have been exporting to America. We have been exporting to African countries. In totality, so far beyond India, we have supplied our products to 16 countries. Now, this American continent and this African continent and few strategic nations in Africa, as I said, that these are traditionally mineral rich and the railway is in focus. We feel that it's a very natural relation and very timely effort by Texmaco to explore its capabilities towards those markets.
Mr. Mukherjee, any guidance therefore? I mean, now that this order is also there and presuming that it starts in the current year, what do you do, for example, in FY26? Because when I look at your numbers, 21 to 25 or 22 to 25, it's been a fairly strong growth rate for you, top line, bottom line, and EBITDA. What is in store for FY26? Is there a target that you set for, let's say, a three-year time frame on revenues and profits?
Very good question. I was trying for an opportunity to explain to you that.
Sure.
Because it will set the context in a better way. Yes, you can see that such global tenders cannot be worked out on a year-to-year basis. We have a 3-year projection, as we say, that we definitely, the rolling stock division, the component and casting, the foundry division, and the rail infra division. All of these combined were in a range of 10% portfolio of the export market. But we want to take it to 30% at least of our total top line. These are, of course, a consciously chosen market because this is a technology and product specific and customer specific deliverables with a long-term association. So we definitely look forward for higher EBITDA margins. And in the top line, of course, on an immediate term, our target is to have a decent, say, 15-20% growth projection.
In
But,
FY26. Okay. And 3-year target, sir, 3-year target, 20% CAGR growth?
We have ambition to do more. Actually, if you see, if you give me half a minute to explain.
Okay.
So in the core business, what it constitutes, it is rolling stock, it is foundry and component. So this foundry and component had been part of the rolling stock business, and it was typically was having around 800 crore turnover. So our target is to make it a separate profit center, and it should grow to a level of at least under 1,500 to 2,000 crore business vertical. And in the component division, which was very, not so significant, but also we feel that it has a potential to grow beyond 500. So foundry and component combined, so 2,000 crore top line with a higher teen EBITDA is a focus for the company next 3 years. And if you go to the infrastructure part, so we have a electrical and electronics part of it, and the traditional rail infra part. So the electrical division of the rail infra will also, we believe, will contribute more than 1,000 crore top line with a higher teen EBITDA. And of course, the rail infra, which we are demerging into wholly owned subsidiary, we at least have a mid-teen EBITDA and a kind of 1,000 crore turnover. So if you can see that the current whatever we have in the top line, it has an opportunity or a plan of Texmaco to mirror it by organic growth in terms of whatever core business it has, and it in that way the growth trajectory will continue, and where we have a strong focus on the bottom line, where on an average, so mid-teen is the 2 to 3 years horizon where which it should be consistent in terms of the EBITDA percentages. And of course, beyond that, we are looking for certain wide spectrum of break businesses, which will be different in nature than the core businesses to add on in next 3 years.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking with us, Texmaco there. And, important to remember that the outlook is very positive for the books. But even this breakthrough in terms of a solution provider for Australia is also a crucial move. All right.